work on lesson 2-3 today. The way it'll probably work is I will get through the basics of all the notes. I'm not going to go into enough detail on stuff at the end probably. But we're going to go through this. Monday I'll probably plan to do a little bit of recap and clean up to make sure we're headed in the right direction. Okay? But linear functions and slope-intercept form. Right there, guys. Slope-intercept form is the name of the game today. What do you remember about slope-intercept form?
It's a lot of X1 and Y1.
What is slope-intercept form? It's right there in front of you.
Yeah, but then I won't be as smart. It's right there.
Okay. Slope-intercept form. Y equals mx plus b. This is not your first go-around with y equals mx plus b. Now, with that being said, that doesn't mean I'm just going to assume you remember it all. I'm still going to go through it, review it, give you another opportunity to try and learn it. But so slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b, where m stands for slope, and b stands for the y-intercept. Okay? Now, what do you remember about slope? What are ways we can find slope?
Oh, X1 and X2, Y2.
Okay, but specifically, how do I use X1, Y1, and X2, Y2?
However you say that.
Okay. So one way to find slope is where you do y minus y on top. You subtract the two y coordinates on top, and then on bottom you subtract the x coordinates. So when we're given two ordered pairs, like in this first section, two written ordered pairs, we will y minus y over x minus x to get our fraction. What's another way to find slope? We have a phrase for finding slope. Rise over run. Okay, we will also be using that. I like to use rise over run when I'm looking at a graph. That's when I find rise over run most helpful. So know that phrase there as well. Oops, didn't mean to go up quite there yet. Okay, slope. Let's talk slope. Example A. What is the slope of the line that passes through the following points? So I have ordered pairs -3, 7 and -1, 4. How do I find slope here? Okay. Starting with y2 minus y1. Okay, here's a good question. What's the order in an ordered pair? It's always what, then what? X, then Y, yes? Just a friendly little reminder, because unfortunately you can't do slope if you don't remember that the ordered pair is X, then Y. And there's nothing wrong with going in and labeling X, Y, so you make sure you get the right numbers. So on top, it's supposed to be Y2 minus Y1. What do you want to do on top then if it says Y2 minus Y1? Seven minus 4? Okay. Now technically she just said 7 minus 4. Then she changed said or 4 minus 7. Technically it doesn't matter. And I don't know if you guys realize this or not, but technically it doesn't matter. You could use either or. Okay. I'm guessing, are more of you more comfortable with the 4 minus 7? Okay, I get the impression that's what you guys have been taught. And so you guys are more comfortable with 4 minus 7, which is fine. I'm fine with that. Me personally, I tend to just go bigger minus smaller, because here's all that matters. As long as whatever you do on top, you do on bottom, it works. So if I use 4 minus 7, then what do I have to do on top? Y minus Y, so that means on bottom I have to go back and start with the corresponding X, so I have to do What is the subtraction there? Okay. -1 minus -3. If you've done 7 minus 4, the difference is now you'd be doing -3 minus 1. So, what is 4 minus 7? -3. What is -1 minus -3? Keep, change, opposite is what I always teach. -1 plus 3 is 2. How should I express my answer? Should I change it? Should I leave it? Leave it? Yep. Okay. I absolutely do not want to see -1.5. Because how can you do rise over run with 1.5? You can't. Same thing, 1.5. Not a big fan of 1.5 because I can't do rise over run. So I am looking for a fraction. Improper fraction is good. That's fine. Okay. Let's try B. 3, 1 and -4, 1. Y minus Y on top. 1 minus 1. Don't have to argue about which one goes first there. So if we do 1 minus 1, or 1 minus 1, whichever way you look at it, what goes on bottom? Okay. I heard -4 minus 3 up here. That works. Okay, what is 1 minus 1? 0. -4 minus 3? -7. Do not leave me 0 in a fraction setting. I will count off. I want to know what is 0 divided by -7. Anytime there's a 0 in a fraction, whether it be top or bottom, I want you to go one more step and prove to me you know what that is. What is 0 over -7? What? 0. Okay. Anytime 0 is on top of a fraction, your answer is 0. If I take 0 cookies and divide them among 7 people, each person gets 0 cookies. Right? Okay, so, and as a helpful hint, if you do 0 divided by 7 on your calculator, guess what? You're going to get 0. Okay, so that's kind of a, if you forget in doing a problem, 0 on top, plug into your calculator. 0 divided by 7, you get 0. Okay, what about C? 7, -3, and 7, 1. What would we like to use on top? I heard 1 something. 1 minus -3. Y minus Y. What goes on bottom then? 7 minus 7. 1 minus -3. Keep, change, opposite if you will, and that becomes 1, 3, which is 4. 7 minus 7? 0. Like I said earlier, if you have 0 in a fraction, don't stop there. What is 4 divided by 0? Okay, so if we go straight for the calculator answer, she says syntax error. Can I take 4 cookies and divide them into 0 groups? No, I at least have to take those 4 cookies and at least put them in one group. I can't do 0 groups. So, syntax error, divide by 0 error. I'm trying to think what all the different calculator, you divide by 0 is going to give you an error. What's that mean here? Do you remember the word for the slope? There's a word instead of a number here to describe this slope. There's a word beginning with U. Undefined. So I think this book uses, well, can't remember sure. Undefined is one option. The other option is just to say no slope. Don't confuse that with no solution, though. Okay? So I'm going to write undefined here. Or you could put no slope. Again, if you get confused, type this in your calculator. Oh, it gave you the error. That means it's the undefined option. Okay? Slope coming back to us a little bit. I'm going to do one of the next three. We're going to go do D and then I'm moving on. Just because I want to get another one that doesn't have a 0 in it. Okay, so 5, 4 and 8, 1. There's what you get from me. M equals a fraction mark. I heard 4 minus 1. Okay, did she use the y's? Y minus y. If we do 4 minus 1 on top, what must I do on bottom? 5 minus 8. What is 4 minus 1? 3. 5 minus 8? Negative 3. Do me a favor, don't leave something that can be reduced. What is 3 divided by negative 3? Negative 1. So go that extra step and divide. Okay, I am going to skip to the next section. If it bugs you to not know the answer to these others, E is 1, and F is undefined. So if you want to do the work and check yourself, there you go. Okay, I want to look at the slopes of these lines here. And as I look at the slopes of these lines, it is really helpful to have an idea if something has a positive slope, what the general idea of the line looks like, or negative, or 0, or no slope. So thoughts. If a line has a positive slope, what does it look like? I think I saw Tori draw it in the air back there. What'd you draw, Tori? Okay, she's drawing like this. Okay, I know my virtual kiddos can't see me right now, but that's sometimes easier than putting it in words. So how do we put that in words? That's what? It's starting lower and lower on the left and increasing to the right, yes? Okay, it's what I would call an increasing line, or has an increasing slope, because it starts low and it ends high. For instance, there is an example of a positive slope. It starts low and it ends high. I could make it steeper than that as well, couldn't I? I didn't make that one very steep, but I could go steeper. The idea is it starts on the left and it increases or moves up to the right. So if this is positive slope, what's a negative slope look like? Starts high on the left and moves down to the right. Something like that. Because you go from left to right. I'm trying to come up with the right answer for you. It starts on the left because we start on the left and move right. So, but technically the line does extend indefinitely in both directions. So, okay guys, what about a slope of 0? What's that make the line look like? Horizontal? Because a line of 0, if you remember, 0 is on top, so there's 0 rise. That means that you can run sideways all you want, but there's 0 up and down. So a 0 slope is represented by just a horizontal line. Process of elimination at this point, what's no slope? It's your vertical line. Okay, so a no slope You can rise up and down all you want, but there's no run. And so that's the idea when the denominator is 0. Okay. I saw some memory out there of slope. Okay, let's practice in this next section writing linear equations. Guess what form we're writing these equations in today? Slope-intercept. We're writing equation y equals mx plus b. That's all. Everything is focusing around y equals mx plus b. That slope-intercept form that we've got to know how to do. If we look at A, and keep in mind, realize A is just here. These graphs are not part of A, they are B and D. Okay, just that's been a confusion today. So A, it says m equals 1/5, and the y-intercept is 0, -3. How do I write an equation for that? So the idea of y equals mx plus b. How do I write that equation? What do you know? Y-intercept and slope. M equals 1/5. What are you going to do? Put it in, yes? It says the y-intercept is 0, -3. What is my b value? The b value is what? The 0 or the -3? The -3? So right there is your b value. Because remember, in ordered pair, it's 0, -3, so it's left to right 0, down 3. So write your equation. Read it for me. Y equals 1/5 x. I heard -3. I like it. Could you technically write plus -3? You can. I don't tend to do that with you guys anymore. I did, when I taught middle school. I don't tend to do it in high school. It's not that you can't write plus -3, but I'm not sure Math Excel will let you do plus -3. Math Excel might be kind of picky and make you do -3. No, we're just writing the equation given the slope and intercept. You're trying to make it too fancy. Okay? Let's try graph B. So this time, instead of being told the slope and intercept, I have a graph, which means I'm going to have to find the slope and intercept, yes? Thoughts on the slope or intercept here on B? Okay. Okay. B is the y-intercept. Maggie, do you know what that is? What value it is here? Did you say it? I missed it. Okay, top line. So if we count 1, 2, 3, 4, my y-intercept is that right there, which is going to be, it's the ordered pair 0, 4, but what am I going to put in my equation? We're going to put 4 in there, aren't we? Okay. So in my opinion, we got the easier part out of the way. How am I going to think about slope here? We're looking at a graph, so what's our phrasing? Rise over run. Now, this is where different people have been taught different ways. I don't care which way you go about this, but rise over run. How far do you think we rise? Anna, do you guys like to rise up or rise down? Luke does up, so that means he's going to count 1, 2, rise 3 up. So if we do that, a rise 3 up is a positive 3. And then what's Luke have to do? How far does he run? 1 to the left, which is negative 1. Is that the way you guys would have done it, or would you have done it the other way? Or does it just depend on the problem, maybe? Okay, because what was the other option? We could have started at the top dot and rise how far? Down 3, which is negative 3. And if you go down 3, then you have to go over right 1. Either way you go, they simplify to be the same, and that's the point there. What is 3 divided by negative 1 or negative 3 divided by 1? Negative 3. Okay. I almost just stopped there like we were done with this problem and went on to the next problem. What was the point of this? We were being asked to write the equation. What is slope-intercept form now that we know B is 4, M is negative 3? Here's my help. Y equals. Okay. Negative 3x plus 4, yep. Okay. Try C. We're told M is 6, so we got that. What's B? 5. So when I write y equals mx plus b, I'm writing y equals 6x plus 5. Yep. Are we ready for the slightly more difficult graph? I say that just because the graph's kind of not drawn the best, but let's try it. You want to start with slope or intercept? Someone tell me something here. Well, either tell me what the slope is or tell me what the intercept is. Or tell me how you'd find the slope. We've got to know both. It is. Negative 3 is the intercept. And I get, again, the graph isn't the best there, right? So I do agree. My y-intercept is negative 3, so that means my b will be negative 3. Okay, you want to rise up or rise down? Does that question make sense? It does in my brain. Maybe it doesn't to you guys, though. Do you want to start here and go up, or do you want to start here and go down? Go up? Okay, so if I start here, how far do I have to go up to get to the level of the next dot? 2. So I'm going to have a rise of 2. And then after we rise up 2, we're going to go left. How many? Left 4. The other plan there would have been to go where? Down 2 and right 4. Well, guess what? If you went down 2, right 4, it's all going to come up to be the same. Whether it's 2 over negative 4 or negative 2 over 4. What does that reduce to? Negative 1/2. Okay. There you go. Y equals. y equals negative 1/2 x minus 3. We got it. Okay. That's the basics of writing slope-intercept. We haven't got anything too fancy there, but that's some of the basics. Got it? Okay. The rest of this, and we're not going to get, we might have a few more minutes here than my other classes did, but taking an equation and writing it in slope-intercept form. This is important when we talk graphing, which there's graphing on the back side of these notes. So, for instance, if you were asked to graph example 3a here, 5x minus 4y equals 16. The first thing we'd want to do is to put it into slope-intercept form. For I don't know how many times today. What is slope-intercept form? Y equals mx plus b. I feel like it's like the bazillionth time me asking that, but you know. Huh? Yes. Yep. We use y equals mx plus b a lot. And as I said, it's one of those things. It sticks. We use it here. You'll use it in pre-calc, calc. Any math class you take that's algebra-based, you're going to see it. Okay, so if this says, write this equation slope-intercept form, that means I'm trying to get it so it's y equals mx plus b. So that means I need to take this equation here and solve it for y. My job is to get y by itself. So, how do I work to get 4y by itself? I don't want to divide by 4 yet. Okay, let's move the 5x. If it's a positive 5x, let's subtract 5x. If I subtract 5x on the left, subtract 5x on the right. What's 5x minus 5x? It's gone. So I have negative 4y equals. Now it's 16 minus 5x, which you could write as 16 minus 5x, but I'm also trying to get us prepared for slope-intercept, which means I personally like to take them, flip them, and put the x first. So if I put the x first, what comes first? Negative 5x plus 16. Okay? Now what do I do to get y by itself? Now we're ready to divide. And so we'll divide by negative 4. If I divide the left, we're going to divide the right by negative 4. We're going to divide everything by negative 4. Negative 4y divided by negative 4 is what? Just y. What about negative 5x divided by negative 4? What's negative 5 divided by negative 4? Just 5/4. Now, what is a negative divided by a negative, though? A positive. So I want to change this to just be positive 5/4 x. Plus 16 divided by negative 4. What's 16 divided by negative 4? Negative 4. So I'm going to write this as minus 4. Okay. I have y equals. So that means I have y equals mx plus b. What is it asks us to identify the slope and y-intercept. What is the slope? Five-fourths. Nothing fancy there. What is the y-intercept? Y-intercept is? Negative 4. Make sure you say negative. Now, I'm happy there, but one side note. Math Excel, if I recall, when they ask you for the y-intercept, they don't want you to just say, okay, y-intercept is negative 4. they're going to ask you what is the y-intercept written as an ordered pair. How do we write a y-intercept of -4 as an ordered pair? What is the ordered pair that represents that? 0, -4. Because remember, it's when x equals 0 that y equals -4 there. Okay, so just be aware of that. Now, all of the next three are all about solving for y, getting them to be y equals. What I want to take a moment to do is hop to the backside and practice one graphing. Okay? It's not that those others aren't good practice, but time. Okay, graphing linear equations. Graph each of the following. Guess what form we're going to graph today? Slope-intercept form. We're going to graph y equals mx plus b form. If I'm going to graph y equals mx plus b form, what has to be true of these equations? They're going to have to be in y equals. So what's going to be the first step? Before I can even graph, I need to take this equation and solve it for y. And then that will put us in y equals mx plus b. So just like that front one I just came from, getting y by itself, we want to do that again. So, -2x plus y equals 1. How do I get y by itself? Okay, if there's a -2x, to move it to the other side, I'm going to add 2x. What we do on the left, we do on the right. -2x plus 2x is gone. Y equals 1 plus 2x. I'm going to write it as 2x plus 1, because again, I'm aiming for that slope-intercept form. Speaking of, what is my slope? 2. Now, I'm talking graphing. So 2 as a fraction is 2 over 1. And I say that because what is the phrase I'm going to use with that 2 over 1? Rise over run. So that means when I graph this here in a moment, I will rise 2, run 1. Where do I rise 2, run 1 from? So what's my starting point? One, because that is my y-intercept. So you'll always start with your y-intercept first, and then worry about slope. So, b equals 1. How do I put my y-intercept of 1 on here? We're going to go where? Y-intercept is up or down, so it's going to be up 1. From this point, we are going to slope. What's our slope? Rise 2, run 1. Rise 2, run 1. Now, technically, do I have to make more than one, more than the 2 original dots? No. However, could you just keep making endless dots? You can. What also can I do? Can we reverse it and go down? If you're going up to right 1, the exact opposite of that is to go down to left 1. You can make as many dots as you want, or points as you want. You only need 2, but a few extra dots will help you keep the line a little bit straighter. That's always my opinion. And I always draw my lines to fill my graph. I don't just draw a small portion of the graph. I draw it to fill the graph. Okay. My hope is that some of this stuff has come back to you today. You do have the homework in Math Excel to look at before next week. Okay? My other classes we ran right up to the bell. We're stopping a minute or two early here because we'll have announcements shortly. Look at this, but I will, get started on this. But I will tell you that I'm going to take a little bit of time at the beginning of class on Tuesday to go back, review, make sure we're headed in the right direction. Okay? So I can answer some questions there.
Are you going?